Hi, I'm Mark from eReplacementParts.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the starter pawl return spring on an Echo trimmer. The starter pawl return spring returns the starter pawl to its normal position when you're done using the recoil starter to start the engine. When a spring fails, it's common for the starter pawl to stay engaged against the starter pulley. Replacing the return spring is easy to do, and we're going to show you how. Starter pawl return springs, as well as many other parts, can be found on our website. Let's get started. We'll begin by removing the engine shroud from the trimmer. It's secured with 2 screws. I'll also want to pull the spark plug boot from the spark plug. Now I'll remove the 6 screws that secure the starter to the engine. Now I'll remove the starter pulley assembly. To do that, I need to unscrew it from the engine, but the problem is if I try to turn it, it just turns the entire engine. So I'll need to bind up the engine so that I can remove the starter pulley. To do that, I'll remove the spark plug, and insert a piece of starter rope into the cylinder. The rope will take up the space between the piston and the top of the cylinder and make it so that the engine can't rotate. I'll rotate the engine until I feel it bind against the rope. Then I'll use some pliers to remove the pulley. With the starter pulley assembly removed, now we can move on to replacing the starter pawl return spring. To remove the old one, I'll pry these clips on the back of the starter pulls away. Tip it back over, and now I can remove the starter pawl and the spring. Now I'll place the new spring over the shaft on the starter pawl. I want this tab on the spring to be on what I would call the inside of the starter pawl. Then I'll place this assembly back into the pulley, flip it over, and secure it with the split ring. Now replace the starter pulley assembly. Thread it onto the shaft and tighten it up with the pliers. Now replace the starter assembly. I'll line it up with the engine, and a lot of times you'll have to give the starter rope a little bit of a pull to get the starter pawls to engage. Once it's in place, I'll secure it with the screws. And now I'll replace the engine cover. And that's all it takes to replace the starter pawl return spring on an Echo trimmer. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give us a thumbs up and leave a comment.